Have you ever been misunderstood not because of what you said, but because of what others choose to believe about you? Imagine an entire continent, home to over a billion people, reduced to one single image: hunger, hurts, and hopelessness. That's the danger of a single story. One story told too often becomes a lie that silences millions of other truths. Today, we break that silence. We peel back the layers. We go beyond a single story. The story I am about to share is taken from a deeply awakening book titled Beyond a Single Story, written by Amechi Ogalago, a powerful author, storyteller, and truth seeker who challenges how the world sees Africa and how Africa sees itself. In chapter 1, the lecture hall revelation, we meet Nkemu, a young African student sitting in a foreign classroom, forced to watch her entire continent being described in one word: poor. But this isn't just Nkemu's story. It is the story of every African who's ever had to explain that Africa is not a country, that poverty is not our identity, that our story is not one-dimensional. I promise you, by the end of this message, you will understand why telling your own story truthfully, boldly, unapologetically is one of the greatest powers you will ever hold. Because the world doesn't just remember what's told, it remembers who told it. Now, picture this: a classroom buzzing with intellect, a screen glowing with pictures of despair, and a young African woman sitting silently at the back, torn between respect and revelation. Everyone else sees a continent in need. She sees a home full of life, innovation, and rhythm. At that moment, she faces a choice: to stay silent and let the wrong story win, or to speak and rewrite the narrative. Because silence, my friend, is the soil where stereotypes grow. Now, let's open the lesson behind the story and tell Nkemu's story. The story. Nkemu sat at the back of the university lecture hall. Her notebook opened in front of her, but her mind elsewhere. She had always been a different student, soaking in every word the professor spoke, always on time, always prepared. But today, something gnawed at her, a growing discomfort that she couldn't shake. It was the content of the lecture. The professor had started with an image on the projector screen: a barren field, cracked earth under a burning sun. As the slide changed, it revealed a group of children with ribs poking through their skin, their faces hollow with hunger. And then came the huts, makeshift shelters made from tin and wood, crumbling under the weight of time and neglect. Africa, the professor began, his voice steady and filled with an air of solemnity, is a continent plagued by poverty, war, and disease. Many of its people lack access to basic necessities like food, clean water, and education. Organizations like ours work tirelessly to provide aid to help those who are suffering. Nkemu felt her heart tightening, her stomach shone. She had seen these images before, countless times, on charity commercials and news reports, always paid with the somber music and the desperate pleas of celebrities asking for donation. But today, the sting was sharper. Today, she was no longer a distant observer. She was a part of the story. An African girl sitting in a lecture hall, listening to her home being reduced to a single narrative. The students around her nodded solemnly, scribbling notes, absorbing the professor's words as if they were gospel. Nkemu's eyes scanned the room. Her classmates, eager and bright-eyed, had no idea that they were being fed a version of Africa that was incomplete, one-dimensional. To them, the images on the screen were the only truth about the continent, the only story there was to tell. Nkemu's mind raced. She felt the weight of all the untold stories pressing down on her shoulders. She had lived in Lagos, Nigeria, a city of bustling streets and towering skyscrapers, a place where tech startup and innovation thrived, where music and the art pulsed through the veins of the youth. She had grown up surrounded by opportunities, not despair. She had never known hunger like the children on the screen. She had never seen a hut, let alone lived in one. But how could she explain this? How could she challenge the professor, the system, the single story that was being told over and over again, not just in this room, but in countless others across the world? When the professor opened the floor for discussion, Nkemu hesitated. Her hand trembled slightly, unsure if it was worth speaking up. She had learned over the years that whenever she spoke of Africa in a way that didn't fit the dominant narrative, she was met with polite disbelief or awkward silences. But today, something in her snapped. The weight of history, the responsibility of truth, and the sheer injustice of being misunderstood filled her with a sense of urgency. She raised her hand. Yes, Nkemu, the professor asked. His tone polite but slightly dismissed. Nkemu stood, her voice calm but firm. I appreciate your concern for Africa, she began, carefully choosing her words, but I think that what you just showed is an incomplete story. It is not the whole picture. The professor frowned slightly, his gaze narrowing. How so? Nkemu could feel the eyes of her classmates on her, some curious, some skeptical. She could already hear the whispers that would follow, the inevitable judgment, but she refused to let it stop her. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, a city of over 20 million people. We have skyscrapers, tech hubs, music festivals, and a thriving creative economy. I grew up listening to Afrobeat, reading Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and dreaming of becoming an engineer. My childhood was not a fight for survival, it was full of opportunities, of hope. I didn't grow up in a hut. I had internet before I learned how to ride bicycle. There was a collective shift in the room. Students exchanged glances, unsure of how to process what she was saying. Someone shifted in their seat, and then Nkemu could feel the air ticking with the weight of her words. Africa is not a country, she continued, her voice growing more confident. It is a continent made up of 54 nations, with thousands of languages and countless cultures. Yes, there are struggles. Yes, there is poverty, but there is also innovation, resilience, and the creativity. There are people like me, people who are shaping the future, not just surviving in the past. The professor cleared his throat, his face a mix of surprise and discomfort. That's a very important perspective, Nkemu. Thank you for sharing. The silence in the room was deafening. Nkemu felt her heartbeat in her ears, but she held her ground. She had said what needed to be said, and yet she knew that the conversation didn't end here. It was just beginning. The fight against the single story was long, and it wasn't just about classroom. It was about the world. After class, as the students filtered out, one of her classmates approached her. She was blonde, with pale skin, and they had always seemed polite but distant, never really engaging with Nkemu. Today, her expression was different. She seemed almost embarrassed. I never thought about it that way, the girl admitted, her voice hesitant. I mean, I just assumed. Well, I guess I never really questioned what I have been told about Africa. Nkemu smiled softly, a mixture of relief and the frustration bubbling inside her. That's the danger of a single story, she replied. When you only hear one version, you start to believe it is only truth. As she walked out of the lecture hall, Nkemu's heart felt lighter, though still burdened by the weight of all the other untold stories. She had spoken her truth, but she knew this was just one small step in much larger battle. The single story of Africa was so deeply ingrained in the world's psyche, and the challenging it required more than just words. It required action, understanding, and a willingness to see beyond the surface. Nkemu took a deep breath as she stepped into the bustling campus. Her step purposeful. She had just told another story, and in doing so, she had planted the seed for a new narrative to grow. Nkemu. What are the lessons learned from this story, if I may ask? Nkemu's moment in that lecture hall teaches us something profound. The danger of a single story is not just that it is untrue, it is that it is incomplete. One story about Africa or about you can shrink your greatness to fit someone else's limited understanding. When Nkemu stood up to speak, she wasn't just defending her continent, she was defending her truth. She reminded the world that Africa is not just poverty, it is possibility. It is Lagos tech hub, Nairobi's innovation, Accra's creativity, and Johannesburg's ambition. She proved that power begins when you own your narrative. Because if you don't tell your story, someone else will, and they will tell it wrong. The lesson: never let anyone summarize your complicity into a single sentence. You are not a stereotype, you are a symphony. So, how do you, watching right now, go beyond a single story in your own life? Let me share 3 simple but powerful actions. 1. Challenge the narrative. Don't accept one version of anything. Not of Africa, not of Sussex, not of yourself. Ask questions. Seek the other side. Number 2, tell your story yourself. Use your voice, write, speak, create, express. Don't wait for permission to be heard. The world needs your perspective, your truth, your uniqueness. Number 3, represent your reality with pride. Whether you are a student, an entrepreneur, or a creative, carry your identity with you and with confidence. You are part of a continent bustling with genius and grace. Remember this: your story has power, and when you share it, you don't just educate others, you liberate yourself. Now, if this message has stirred something in you, if you have ever felt misunderstood, misrepresented, or silenced, you must get this book, Beyond a Single Story by Amechi Ogaragu. It's not just a book, it is a movement. It is a mirror that makes you see yourself more clearly, and a window that helps the world see Africa truthfully. Each chapter challenges a narrative, awakens a mindset, and empowers your voice to speak without fear. Get your copy today, hold it, read it, live it, and become part of a generation that refuses to let others tell our story for us. Because our story is too powerful to be told halfway. My friend, the world doesn't need another single story. It needs your story. So speak up, write it down, sing it loud, paint it bold. Don't just exist in someone else's narrative. Create your own chapter. Africa is more than what they have shown. You are more than what they have said. This is your time to rise beyond a single story. Once again, the book is Beyond a Single Story by Amechi Ogaragu. Get it, read it, share it, because the truth only wins when it is told. Thank you for watching this video, and I believe you have learned a lot from this video. If you have learned a lot from this video, make sure you share it so that it will go viral, so that young Africans will know a way to tell their own story, not the one that they have told halfway. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.